Hello, my name's John. These are the Necromunda House books, and you're watching Wargames, Models, and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome to another video in this series of me looking through all of the Necromunda books. In the last video we had a look at the various rule books that are out for the game. I'll leave a link in the description. In this video we're going to take a look at the House of books and what's in each of them. Now there are quite a few books that go with Necromunda. Different rules and different aspects of the game are taken up within each of them, including the one that is just coming out, the Apocrypha book. There is 18 books in total. It is quite a lot. Some people don't like having all of these books. I myself do like having the books because of all of the different content that you get within them. At the very end of this series of videos, I am going to do a short video on what books are worth having if you just want to explore the game and try it out for the first time. But if you watch all of these videos, you're going to see what's in all of the books, so you can make up your own mind about what you want to get, if you want to get any of them at all. So let's get started with this video. So the first book that we're going to have a look at is the House of Chains, which is the House Goliath book for Necromunda. Now all of the rules in the House of Chains book are for battling in the Underhive. There is a whole separate selection of books for the Ash Wastes, which I'll talk about in another video. But let's get started and have a look at what's in this book. So just flipping to the contents first, we have a whole section at the beginning of the book on the Goliath gang list. Talks about all the different types of fighters that you can get, which are expanded on a lot more than the ones that you find in the Hive War rulebook. We then have hangers-on and brutes, and for those who don't know what those are, hangers-on are characters that aid the gang somehow but don't necessarily fight with it all the time, and then brutes are giant monsters of characters, so things like ogrins and things like that. We also have hired guns, so the basic types of hired guns. Alliances, there's different types of guilds and alliances that gangs can work with, and you've got strong alliances that you can have with Goliath gangs. We've got some additional rules. We've got different types of fighters. We've then got terrain that is specific for House Goliath. Scenarios. We also get another gang list in this book, which is the Slave Ogrins. So if I just flick to that section just here, so this gives us the background of being able to have slave ogrin gangs. So something a little bit extra, so we get two types of gang in this book. It has everything you need to play Goliath or ogrin gangs. So if you're interested in that gang, this is the book that you're going to want to look at to get. There are weapons references in the back of the book, so it talks about the different weapons that they all have access to, and then special rules and things like that. So that is the House of Chains, which is the House Goliath book. We then have House of Blades, which is the Escher book. Exactly the same way as the Goliath book is laid out, we have a section on the Escher gang itself, so listing all of the different kind of characters and now exotic beasts and things that you can have within the gang itself. Hangers-on and brutes again. There are a few added ones to this one compared to the other book. Hired guns. We've got the alliances as well. And then additional rules, terrain, and other bits and pieces in exactly the same way. So the book is laid out exactly the same, with background and then rules for the characters and the gangs, costs for all their equipment and that kind of thing. So again, this book, very similar to the other one, has everything you need to play a Escher gang. So third on the list we've got House of Iron, which is the Orlok gang book, exactly the same as the other ones. We have the rules for an Orlok gang, all the hangers-on and brutes, hired guns, and then the alliances, and so on and so forth. So exactly the same layout as the previous ones. Something I didn't mention, in all of these books we do have special characters as well. So very specific special characters and their rules and how much they cost to hire and that kind of thing. So there's different characters in every single book. But like the other ones, exactly the same layout with all of these rules within this book. So that is everything you need when you've got a House Orlok gang. Continuing, we now have the House of Artifice, which is the Van Saar book. Nothing's changed really in this book compared to the other ones. So we have the gang lists, hangers-on and brutes, hired guns, the alliances, and so on and so forth. So we have in here a lot of the same things, but specifically for the Van Saar gangs, we've got the rules, armour, weapon references. I do like these pages that show the house-specific weapons, so it gives you an idea of their styling and things like that. But yeah, another book. This time it's for Van Saars. We then have the House of Faith. Now this book is for House Cawdor, but also for redemptionist gangs. So those who aren't familiar, House Cawdor are a very religious, pious house, and the redemptionists are their kind of fanatical wing. This book, in exactly the same way as the other ones, has the rules for the house gang, exotic beasts, hangers-on and so on, exactly the same way, but you have the choice of different types of gangs, whether they're redemptionist led or led by a standard Cawdor leader. Let's have a quick look as we go in. Yeah, so you can either be led by a Cawdor wordkeeper or a redemptionist priest, and depending on what types of gangers you have will depend on what type of gang you have come out, whether it's a Cawdor gang or a redemptionist gang. Quite a nice change to the other books, just being able to mix and match your gang with these different characters in it. You get some really unique characters with the Cawdor ones. So this is a Stig Shambler, which is a big guy with a little guy on top and a gun. But yeah, that is House of Faith, which is for Cawdor or redemptionist. Then finally, with the house books, we have House of Shadow, which is for House Delac. This one goes back to the same as most of the others, where we have the Delac gang, then hangers-on, hired guns, all the other rules in exactly the same way. So this allows you to field House Delac. Quite an interesting book, this one, because it introduces psychic powers and things within the certain gangs. So we've got telepathic powers and that kind of thing. So House Delac, a very different type of gang from the other ones. So that's the 6 house books. Obviously you don't need to own every single one to play Necromunda, but if there is a specific house you want to have in more detail, then having the book for the house does make it more beneficial, easier to play and that kind of thing. Saying that, like I said in the previous video, there is the basic rules in the Hive War book that you get with one of the box sets. But yeah, if you want to get more in depth, these are the books that you want to look at. So stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to run through a few more of the other books in the Underhive before the 4th video we go into the Ash Wastes. But for now, thanks for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.